The second showstopper at the Tata Motors stand, of course, there is also the Harrier EV. We'll have another video on that. But the second showstopper to me is the Avinya. Now, this is the second Avinya concept. The earlier one was shown, and as you said, Martin, that's almost ready for production.
That's right.
This is the Avinya X concept. Now, what is Avinya? Martin, is it correct to say that what Lexus is to Toyota, Avinya is to Tata Motors?
Absolutely. It's a perfect analogy. We saw obviously the potential in terms of products in the premium segment, and we saw an emerging market in India, but also globally for a pure EV. And Avinya will be that actually premium separate brand. So by showing the second concept in the statement of intent in terms of a second model, it underlines that Avinya is actually a brand.
So Martin Ulvarik is the head of design at Tata Motors. So we'll do a design walk around on this second concept. Now, this is a big car.
Yes.
Is this the biggest car Tata Motors as a passenger vehicle manufacturer has ever made?
Yes. In terms of dimensions, length, everybody, when this clay model was being done in the studio, we couldn't believe that a couple of years ago we were making cars pretty much half the size of this, and now we're making something of this scale.
How long is this?
It's well over 4.8 meters.
4.8 meters. Let's look at the wheels.
I think the key to communicating power is obviously the wheel size, the stance, and the overall proportion. 22-inch wheels.
22-inch wheels.
Is a very good starting point.
Is that production feasible?
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah.
This platform and the package is production feasible.
Production feasible.
Yes. To be honest, the production car will be not much different from what you see here. Like I said, with the Sierra, the car we showed today and the one we showed 2 years ago, very hard to figure out the difference. Same thing with this.
Now this two-tone color scheme,
Yes.
sort of like what Maybach does.
Yes, that's a signature of Avinya. We had that on the first Avinya concept. It's become part of the DNA, and it's something that we're going to have on pretty much all of the programs and products.
What are going to be the key design characteristics of Avinya?
Avinya has to communicate grace, power, and elegance. To be honest, if you remember the original concept, it was inspired by a sailboat. Lots of motifs about sailboats, effortlessness, silence. It's a good analogy for an EV. This one, being an SUV, the front is power and the rear is effortless grace. So it's actually the back end of the car, which we'll show you right in a way. It's actually inspired by a Riva powerboat.
Okay.
So if you see there's a sort of arching line,
Yep.
and if you see the sketches in the press pack, you'll know which sketch was the starting point of this inspiration. And it's a very elegant, but at the same time, it has to communicate strength, power, high tech. It is an SUV. It can't be too, weak. So we found this as a perfect way of describing it. And then you can see even this one line, it starts out very sharp, very horizontal, and then just sort of tapers away. But the plan view of the car is really coming in. So you have this super wide, powerful haunch on the rear, and it's all very simple. Sometimes I love the simplest solution is actually the most beautiful one. One other thing which, when you think about it, is actually the door opener is now here. As we were making the clay model, we taped up the retractable, door handle here, and we felt it kind of, again, made it messy. So we said, most of the customers which will have this vehicle in India will be in the second row. They'll either open it here or they'll do it remotely with their phone. But again, it just kept that sort of purity of surfacing right through the whole car.
Martin, you have these flying buttresses out here?
Yes, it's all about aerodynamic efficiency. This car has gone through a wind tunnel numerous times. This is a full program now, production. And our target is actually to make the most aerodynamic SUV in the segment, globally.
Globally?
Yes.
And what segment is this globally?
Premium, I don't know, EV, SUV. If you see some of the products coming out of Asia and as pure EV skateboards, there's a real tendency for coupes, but at the same time it has a bit of coupe because this is quite a raked windscreen. But actually this H-point is the same as most mainstream SUVs. So it was an interesting design, and the buttresses were actually product of wind tunnel testing. and it's something that we plan on bringing into the production car.
Your lighting at the rear also, this extension and the slim lights. Again, I remember seeing something like this on the earlier Avinya concept as well.
The first product, which again we're finishing, that has the signature sticking out, and you know the T logo. The badge is the DRL, is the lighting system. So we've combined actually the logo and the lighting signature. And of course we want to communicate something as wide as possible, and having it stick out past the rear haunches just makes it even more dynamic. It looks like an aerodynamic device, and it blends itself very well with this rear haunch, this rear
So Avinya will not have a Tata Motors badge. The lighting is the...
Yeah, it's an homage. You know, it's obviously a T.
Yeah.
It's unmistakably somehow Tata Motors, but it doesn't have to say it. It's, you know, it has the DNA of the company and the ethos and the value system of Tata Motors, but Avinya is the brand.
Now, this shape obviously can't take a 7-seater, and what I can see is this is the 4-seater, so you got like 2 captain seats at the back.
Both products, this one and the one we're finishing, will have the bench seat, so 5-seater, but it'll also have a 4-seater cockpit version.
Martin, why is Tata Motors doing Avinya?
Yeah, you've seen actually, obviously we see a market potential price-wise as the Indian market grows. For a premium product. We see a white space in our group between Tata Motors and Land Rover, and now with Jaguar repositioning itself. But also globally, you've seen new nameplates appearing, you know, whether it's the traditional Japanese, Korean companies creating a premium brand, but also you see new startup brands coming. The public is now more open to a good product, regardless of the name, if the price is right and the offering is competitive. And this is not only a product for the Indian domestic market, but also an international. This will be the spearhead for Tata Motors internationally.
For the EV segment.
For the EV segment, and we will be taking on the obvious competitors from Asia, globally.
North of India.
And in India, this will be the avatar, if from an Indian point of view, of making a world-class, high-tech, premium product.
As a designer and the head of design, to launch a new brand, because Avinya is basically a new brand. You're doing Tata Lexus.
Yes.
It must be a difficult path, but also a very interesting process, right?
It's brilliant. I mean, designing a product is one thing, but designing a brand through the products is a completely different story. And you know, it's a storytelling element, you know, and I find it actually kind of the next level now from a designer's point of view, as a challenge to create something that's easy to understand, people can relate to it, as a consistency, you know, whether it's product A, B, C, D, doesn't matter, and creating a new vocabulary separate. It's kind of like a white sheet, perfect project.
Finally, Martin, what's the highlight on the Avinya X according to you?
The Avinya X, it's this rear end. The rear 3/4 is the signature view. There's a lot of nice elements of this car, but the rear element of this just elegance of, you know, this line in plan view with like a Coke bottle tapering in, and then this one line just striking through it. It's basically 2 lines which create this huge muscular rear wheel arch and the power and the glory of what this car is.
Awesome. Thank you, Martin.
Cool.
What do you guys think about the Avinya X concept? Let us know in the comments.